Well, it was about a year ago at this time that Fedarian Mathis, who now plays for the Washington Commanders in the NFL, said Alabama still runs the SEC, talking about his time at Alabama and the success that he had, as well as a lot of other guys there. He said, we still run the SEC. And I wonder if you can really make that argument anymore. Um, and it occurs to me with all the praise and sort of lavish this, that, and the other that the dogs have gotten lately. Our friends in Tuscaloosa are not getting that the same way. I don't know if it's affecting people there in a way that's super negative or not, or if they're just sort of scheming for their next championship run. We talk a lot about Georgia, obviously here on Dog Post, and what's happening in the league. But it's hard to ignore that Alabama has slipped out some. I think Clemson has slipped some, clearly, much more clear than Alabama. Mark Schlabach has the Tide number 5 in his way too early top 25. Seems a little low to me. I think they'd probably be top 2 or the top 3 for me, something like that. Um, that's what I would say. But and then you look at Clemson, which is not what we're talking about here. But Mark's got them all the way down at 15. He's got Florida State at 4. That's the part I'm not so certain of. I would still probably have Alabama in the top 3, but I'm not willing to die on a hill for it. And in terms of running the SEC, the fact of the matter is, we may have seen everything change and just not know it. There was a time when Alabama certainly did rule the SEC, but you can't really say that anymore. And with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma coming into the league, I don't think that, I mean, as there's currently built, Texas and Oklahoma are not going to threaten Alabama. Maybe in a one game scenario, but not in a not as long as Nick is there in terms of passing Alabama. But I do think that the that Texas and Oklahoma are coming in could change the structure of the SEC and therefore change what Alabama has been so dominant at for so long, which is winning SEC West titles. The other thing too, Alabama has won two of the last five. No, excuse me, two of the last four SEC championships, three of the last five. But the way in which they've not won their terminal game in those seasons in 2019, not even playing for the SEC championship, 2021 losing the national championship to Georgia, and then in 2022 not playing for the not playing for the SEC championship again because of LSU. So two of the last 4 years, Georgia and LSU have gotten very directly in three of the last four. Uh, those programs have gotten, I'm doing that right? 22, 21, 2019. Yeah. So it's been SEC teams that have directly gotten in the way of Alabama. And one time in the future, we are going to talk about, if Georgia's been passed by. That will happen at some stage. We don't know when it is. These things all go in cycles. It's just what it is. One thing about double dogs that we talk about in there is the consequential win that Georgia had over Tennessee. Hey, make sure you're picking it up. I don't want you to wait too long to order it because then there's a line that's formed now. Everyone that's ordered it already, obviously they'll get it, and there are thousands of people. So make sure you're picking it up. The link is down below. We got dog instruction too. A lot of people are buying both. Make sure you're picking up both. Hey, there will come a time that Georgia gets passed by, and I think Georgia um, has passed Alabama. I don't know that they passed them forever. That's not how that works either. That can change. That can change too, and quickly. I mean, I think that the issue that I think is happening right now around the league but certainly I think the last place would be in Tuscaloosa, which is, have they come to grips that what has happened lately has happened? Not just Keely Ringo running down the sideline and what folks felt like, I'm sure in Alabama, was a one-off situation, you know. Have they seen what's been building at Georgia and take Georgia out of it? Have they come to grips with um, what's going on in their own program and how things have changed in their own program? That's the hardest part to understand. I think because when it's happening to you, it's harder to pick up on. I think the thing that maybe Kirby deserves the most credit for in his time at Georgia is the understanding um, that he needed, excuse me, that Kirby needed to make a change at offensive coordinator specifically, but generally speaking, at, in his offense. I think that to me is the part that um, that had to happen. You know, that was something that, had that not changed, there'd have been a real issue at Georgia getting over the hump, so to speak. And I think that the move to Todd Monken uh, changed everything for the Dogs. I mean, it gave them the ability to strike offensively that they had not had previously. Think about their matchups with Alabama pre Todd Monken. So there were two of them only, actually. And so and they were back-to-back seasons. In 17, Georgia didn't score 30 points. In 18, they did not score 30 points. Now in 2020, twice they didn't score 30 points against Alabama, but when they needed to, the third time they did, and that won them the national championship. And to suggest, even though they were the number three team in the country at the time, to suggest that Georgia was really at full throttle as a program at that moment with the quarterback influx, even though it was Stetson starting and playing in that game against Alabama on the road in 20. I was there for that game. Um, I'm not sure that we could really say them. That was a superb Alabama team too, by the way. I mean, one of the best college football teams ever. Um, but it's a lot's changed since then at Georgia and at Alabama, and the two things have, uh, it's like taking two colors and mixing them together. You got something new now, and we don't know, we don't know where these two programs will go in the future. They, you know, they look like they're both going to be competitive for national championships as time goes on. But I, I'm not sure. Uh, I'm not sure how long both will be in that position because of Nick's situation. And I mean, if Kirby were to leave Georgia or retire or whatever, I would be skeptical that Georgia would be on the run that they're on right now. Um, but Nick has done this before. He's thrown together two national championships. They lost one game in 2011. No, they lost one game in 11 and one game in 12, but they went back to back as national champions. But I think now it's a little different because it's not just LSU in their way, um, or just like sort of Auburn. What Nick has dealt with at Alabama has been a team that comes up. LSU, and then it was Auburn for a season, Texas A&M for a season. This, that, and the other. LSU fit the mold the most. LSU never did what Georgia's done recently. They've never been this powerful. Um, Not in back-to-back years. They've been that way, obviously in 19, but you can't really make that argument. LSU in the 20 or in the 2010s, they were really good in 11. After that, they were not exceptional. So I think that's the thing to watch. Does Alabama still run the SEC? The answer to that is no.